Dad left the house to his secret second family, so I bought it from them and kicked them out. I still remember the day I found out my dad had a secret second family like it was yesterday. It wasn't some whispered rumor or a vague suspicion. It was right there in black and white, in the lawyer's office, staring me in the face like a slap I didn't see coming. "Max," the lawyer said, pushing the will across the table, "your father's estate has been finalized. But there's something you need to know about the house." I looked up, heart already sinking. "What about it?" "Well, according to the will, the house doesn't go to your mother or you and your sister. It's been left to a woman named Lisa and her 2 children. I blinked. "Lisa? What Lisa?" The lawyer just nodded slowly. "Your dad's second family." The room went quiet. My mom, Susan, who was sitting beside me, looked like she'd just been punched in the gut. My sister Amy's jaw dropped. I could feel the air thicken with shock and disbelief. "How long?" Mom finally asked, voice cracking. "How long has he been hiding this from us?" I didn't have an answer. I didn't want one. But deep down, I knew I had to find out. This wasn't just a house. This was our home, or at least it used to be. I glanced at the will again, my mind racing. How could he do this? Leave us out like we were nothing? Like the years, the birthdays, the holidays we shared were some kind of lie? Amy squeezed my hand. "What are we going to do?" I swallowed hard. "We're going to figure this out, one way or another." As I left the lawyer's office, my head was spinning, but my resolve was crystal clear. Dad might have made his choices, but I wasn't about to let his secrets ruin what was left of our family. And one thing was for sure, I wasn't going to let Lisa and her kids just take over what was supposed to be ours. I didn't have much to go on besides a name, Lisa, and the vague feeling that this whole mess was a lot messier than I imagined. So, I did what any 20-something with a broken heart in a bad situation would do. I went online. Social media was surprisingly unhelpful. Lisa kept a low profile, no flashy posts, no selfies with Dad, nothing to betray the fact that she even existed. But after some digging, I found a few pictures, her with 2 kids, a teenage girl and a younger boy, smiling quietly in what looked like our old neighborhood. I couldn't believe it. My dad's secret family lived just down the street from us, hiding in plain sight. Next stop, the house itself. I wanted to see it, to see them, but I wasn't sure how to approach it without looking like a nosy neighbor or worse, a threat. The place looked the same from the outside, the garden a little overgrown, the paint peeling. But inside, it was someone else's home now. One morning, I walked into a small cafe down the block, hoping for a little caffeine and maybe some answers. That's when I saw her. Lisa. She was sitting at a corner table, eyes glued to a book, with those 2 kids beside her. The girl with a tough, closed-off look, headphones always on, and the boy nervously fiddling with a toy car. When our eyes met, the air thickened. I wanted to say something. Hell, I rehearsed a dozen lines in my head, but all that came out was a hoarse, "Hi." Lisa looked up, startled, then carefully measured me with a glance that said, "What do you want?" She wasn't warm, but she wasn't hostile either, just guarded. "Max," I said, as if that would explain everything. "Lisa," she replied shortly. The conversation was tense but brief. She admitted she'd known Dad for years but refused to talk bad about him. "He loved us, in his way," she said softly, though her eyes betrayed a history I wasn't ready to hear. After that, I spent hours in the library, digging up anything about Lisa, her kids, their life here. She kept to herself, barely interacting with neighbors, living like a ghost of my dad's past. I couldn't help but notice the strange little details. The girl's rebellious streak that reminded me of Amy, the boy's shy smile that somehow made me think of Dad's softer side. Maybe this secret family wasn't so different from mine after all, but knowing that didn't make it easier. It just made it more complicated. Back in my apartment, I was pacing like a caged lion. Lisa and her kids were living in our house, or at least, the house that was supposed to be ours. But how to get it back without starting a war? That's when I called Jake. Jake's my best friend since college. The kind of guy who's always got a plan, a joke, and the perfect sarcastic comment ready for any disaster. I needed that right now. So I started, dumping my phone on the table. Dad left the house to his secret family. Lisa and her kids are there. I want to buy the house back from them, but without them knowing it's me. Jake raised an eyebrow. This just keeps getting juicier. So what? You want to be a secret buyer, like a real estate ninja? Exactly. I want to keep it clean. No drama. Just get the house back. Jake grinned. Alright, Operation Kick Out the Secret Family it is. But you'll need a front man, someone who can sign papers, shake hands and smile while you pull the strings behind the scenes. I nodded. I know a guy, a friend who's good with paperwork and can keep a low profile. Jake pulled out his phone. Now, about the money. You ready to go full mob boss? Ha, not quite. But I have some savings, and I'm willing to fight for this. We spent the evening going over details, digging up old documents, finding out market values, and making sure every legal box was checked. I felt a strange mix of excitement and guilt. This wasn't just about property, it was about family, history, betrayal. Jake caught me staring at a photo of the old house on my wall. You okay? Yeah, I said, just feels like I'm about to start a battle I'm not sure I can win. Jake laughed. That's what friends are for. Now, let's get to the lawyer and make this thing official. The next day, in the lawyer's office, I signed papers through my proxy, the man who'd officially buy the house. It felt surreal, like I was playing chess 3 moves ahead, but I knew it was the only way. Jake nudged me with a smirk. Next step, eviction notices. Let's see how Lisa handles that. I sighed, half amused, half terrified. This was only the beginning. Jake was officially my undercover buyer, the man of mystery who'd face Lisa and her kids without revealing his true identity. I wasn't sure if I should feel relief or just plain nervous. The first meeting took place right in the old house. Jake showed up, briefcase in hand, looking like some slick real estate agent who knew all the tricks. Lisa answered the door with that guarded look I'd seen before, the teenage girl hovering nearby like a hawk, and the little boy clutching his toy car like it was a shield. Hi, Jake said smoothly, flashing a disarming smile. I'm here on behalf of my client, interested in purchasing the property. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Who is your client? Jake shrugged like it was no big deal. An investor who prefers to stay anonymous for now, but rest assured, they're serious about buying. Lisa exchanged a glance with her daughter, who muttered something under her breath. The boy looked up at Jake, wide-eyed. The negotiations were a dance of half-truths and polite deflections. Lisa tried to hide how much she actually cared about the house, and the memories tied to it. Jake, however, was a pro. He asked just the right questions, gently nudging her to open up about her life with Dad without pushing too hard. At one point, Jake accidentally referred to the house as your family home, and Lisa shot him a look like, "Who do you think you're talking to?" Jake laughed nervously, "Sorry, just trying to keep things friendly." Meanwhile, I was glued to my phone, getting updates from Jake's covert conversations. Each text was like a puzzle piece, helping me understand Lisa's side. Her fears, her attachment to the place, and the complicated relationship she had with my dad. One particularly funny update had Jake describing the teenage daughter's intense eye rolls every time he asked a question. "Pretty sure she's ready to assassinate me with a glare," he joked. It was strange. This clash of 2 families tied together by a man none of us really understood. But I knew one thing for sure, I wasn't about to let Lisa keep the house without a fight, even if it meant dancing around her suspicion and surviving awkward cafe meetings. The day finally came when the papers were signed, and the house officially became mine. Well, technically Jake's name was on the deed, but I was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. We met at the notary's office, where the air was thick with the scent of legal jargon and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights. Jake looked smug, clearly enjoying playing the part of the mysterious buyer. The lawyer handed over the final documents, and just like that, it was done. The house that had once belonged to my dad, and that secret family, was now, in a way, mine. It should have felt like a victory, but instead, I was hit with a storm of mixed emotions. Relief, yes, but also a gnawing anxiety. What now? How do you kick people out of what they consider their home, even if legally it's yours? Lisa and her kids were still there, living life as if nothing had changed. I kept picturing the look on Lisa's face when she'd realize what was really happening. I couldn't decide if I should feel angry or sorry for her. Back at my apartment, I sat staring at the old house's picture on my wall. Okay, Max, I told myself, time to come up with a plan that's smart. And maybe a little bit kind. I didn't want a messy battle. No shouting matches, no slamming doors. I needed to figure out how to make them leave. but with some dignity intact for all our sakes. I pulled out my notebook and started writing down ideas. Legal notices, offers to help with relocation, maybe even a little incentive money. Jake was already excited about the eviction part, but I wanted this to be more than just a cold business move. The house was full of memories, some mine, some not. But it was time to take it back. The real fight was just beginning. Back at my place, Jake and I spread out a pile of papers and legal forms across my kitchen table. We were drafting the official eviction notice, the kind of document that could change lives with just a few lines of text. "We need to pick the perfect date," Jake said, tapping his pen thoughtfully. "Something that hits hard but doesn't look like we're just trying to be cruel." I thought about it for a moment. Then it hit me. "The anniversary of Dad's death," I said quietly. "It'll send a message. Symbolic, you know? Like closing that chapter for good." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Dark, but effective." Just then, Mom walked in carrying a tray of tea. Susan, steady as ever, but her eyes looked tired. She sat down beside me and glanced at the papers. "I know this isn't easy, Max," she said softly, "but you have every right to do what you're doing. Your father, he made his choices, and it's time someone else took control." Her words were a balm and a blade all at once. She believed in me, and that gave me strength. But deep down, the ache of betrayal was still fresh. I found myself thinking about the family I thought I had, the one I grew up with, and how fragile it all was. Dad's secret life felt like a punch to the gut, but maybe, just maybe, this was the chance to take back what was mine, what we deserved. Jake grinned, breaking the silence. "All right, partner. Let's get this show on the road. Eviction notice ready, date set. Now comes the fun part." I smiled back, though my stomach churned. The stage was set, and soon, the real drama would begin. I stood on the porch of the house that once felt like Dad's, and now felt like a battlefield. In my hand was the eviction notice, folded neatly but heavy with meaning. Lisa opened the door before I could even knock. Her eyes widened the moment she saw me, and behind her, the kids appeared. The teenage girl crossing her arms defiantly, the little boy clutching a worn-out teddy bear. "I came to give you this," I said, holding out the paper. "It's the official notice to vacate." Lisa's face went pale, then twisted into panic. "You can't do this," she said, voice trembling. "We've lived here for years. Your father, he cared for us," her daughter sneered. "Yeah, like you care about anything but yourself." The little boy just stared, confused and silent. "I know this is hard," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "But legally, the house is mine now. I'm giving you time to find another place." Lisa's eyes filled with tears. "Please, can't we figure something out? I'm not trying to take what's yours. We just want to live in peace." For a moment I wanted to soften, to say yes, to avoid this painful fight. But I remembered the years of silence, the lies, the betrayal. "I'm sorry," I said finally, "but this has to end." Lisa looked crushed, her daughter furious, her son lost in the middle of it all. I turned and walked away, feeling the weight of the moment, victory mixed with sorrow, justice tangled with loss. The morning of the eviction arrived faster than I expected. Moving trucks pulled up to the house, and a team of burly movers started hauling boxes and furniture out the front door. Lisa stood on the porch, clutching a faded photo frame. A rare quiet moment as she said goodbye to the home she had lived in with her kids. Her face was somber, but there were no tears, just a calm acceptance that made the whole scene feel strangely peaceful. Her teenage daughter paced back and forth, occasionally shooting annoyed glances at the movers who accidentally knocked over a vase or two. "Seriously? Who packs glass like that?" she muttered. The little boy found an old garden gnome in the yard and insisted on taking it with him, naming it Sir Gnome a lot. I couldn't help but smirk at that. Even in the middle of all this chaos, life found little ways to keep its sense of humor. Jake stood beside me, arms crossed, looking like he owned the place already. "You're handling this better than I thought," he said. "Most guys would have lost it by now." "I'm trying," I replied, watching as Lisa gave one last look around the house before climbing into the moving van. Mixed feelings churned inside me, relief that it was finally happening, guilt for the lives we were uprooting, and a strange kind of respect for the strength Lisa had shown. As the van pulled away, I felt the house shift under my feet, like it was breathing a sigh of relief and bracing for whatever came next. The war was over, but the aftermath was just beginning. It was the first time in what felt like forever that Mom, Amy, and I stepped through the front door together. The house was quiet, almost holding its breath as if waiting for us to bring it back to life. We started cleaning up, dusting off forgotten corners, opening windows to let the sunlight flood in, and clearing out remnants of the past. Each creak of the floorboard seemed to echo memories of Dad. Mom paused in the kitchen, wiping a tear from her cheek. "This house, it's more than just walls, it's where we built our family." Amy nodded, smiling softly. "Maybe it's time we do that again, stronger than before." I looked around and felt a strange mix of sadness and hope. For years, Dad's secret had cast a shadow over us. But now, standing here with the people who mattered most, I realized we could start fresh. "We'll make this home ours," I said quietly. "No more secrets, no more betrayals. Just family." Mom smiled, a genuine warm smile. "And maybe some new memories too." As the afternoon sun warmed the living room, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: peace. The past was behind us, and the future, whatever it held, was ours to shape. The house buzzed with laughter and chatter as family and friends filled the living room. I'd thrown together a small get-together. Nothing fancy, just a chance to celebrate what felt like a fresh start. Mom was in the kitchen, proudly showing off her famous casserole, while Amy was teasing Dad's old, worn-out recliner, pretending it was a throne fit for a king. Everyone shared stories, some embarrassing, some downright hilarious. Like the time Dad tried to fix the sink and flooded the entire kitchen. "Remember when he said he was handy?" Jake joked, raising his glass. "Yeah, right." I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in months. Looking around at the smiling faces, no secrets, no bitterness, just genuine warmth, I realized this was what mattered. Family wasn't about perfect histories or untouchable legacies. It was about showing up, forgiving, and moving forward. As the evening wound down, I raised my glass. "Here's to new beginnings. May this house hold more laughter than secrets," someone shouted, "and fewer surprise inheritances." We all laughed, and in that moment I knew we were finally home.